think this thing is very sorry. It's very, very distracting. So what does the word nawafil mean? So we look at it from two angles. The first angle is from the angles of language. When Arabs say nafila, what do they mean? And what does the word nafila mean in the Sharia? You see, why is it not the same Arabic language? There are differences between linguistic implications of a word and the technical usage of that word. It happens also in English language. The word force, what does it mean? Force.
No.
In newtons, or in coulombs, or in push. You see now, are they different or not? Or compulsion. You can't force me means you can't compel me. Can you measure compelling me in newtons? You see now. But in the general usage of the word, force is when you compel someone. It can have a connection with the technical usage, such as because when you move an object, there is inertia, the initial resistance of the object not to move. It wants to remain in its state of rest. And it will be like that until there's some kind of a force bigger than the force that keeps it standing that we refer to as inertia. So if you push it, it's like you are compelling it to move, you are forcing it to move. And you can calculate how much force you employ. You are talking about physics now, but you started with English language. You started with English language that barista will understand. But you are ending up with engineering, chemistry or physics that. So words have their usages in general day-to-day language. They also have their usages when it comes to particular fields of knowledge. Salat, amongst Arabs, it means dua. Allah told the Prophet in the Quran, خذ عليه الصلاة والسلام من أموالهم صدقة تطهرهم بها تطهرهم وتزكيهم بها وصل عليه. خذ من أموالهم صدقة. Take from their wealth some sort of sadaqah. تطهرهم. By that, when you take it, they become pure. وتزكيهم بها. Their wealth also grow. وصل عليهم. This صل عليهم is make dua for them. It's not the observe salah. He says, وَاسْتَعِينُوا بِالصَّبْرِ وَالصَّلَاةِ. Seek help from Allah with sabr, patience. And what? Salah. What does salah mean here? Dua. So the word salat, day-to-day usage amongst us, means dua. But technically in the usage of the Sharia, it means much more than dua. It means dua and other things inside dua. And other things outside dua. Actions, statements, like that. So if we say nafila linguistically, what does it mean? Arabs say ma kana zaidan al asr. And nafilatu. Nafila is ma kana zaidan al asr. What comes in addition to the foundation? Extra. The addition to the foundation. Whatever comes as an addition to the basic thing. That thing is referred to as nafila. In Mu'jam Lughat Sharia, they say the nafila is ma zada ala nasib. And nafila too. Ma zada ala nasib. What comes in addition to your original share? You have a share. This is your portion. The addition to it is nafila. Awil haq. You have a right. What comes in addition to that right is nafila. Awil fard. Something is compulsory. The additional one on it is nothing. So this, whatever comes in addition to the foundation, to the basic thing, is referred to as what?
Nafila.
And Allah used it in the Quran like that. He mentioned to the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam that وَمِنَ اللَّيْلِ فَتَهَجَّدْ بِهِ نَافِلَةً لَكَ عَسَىٰ أَن يَبْعَثَكَ رَبُّكَ مَقَامًا مَحْمُودًا. Alayhi salatu wasalam, he says, وَمِنَ اللَّيْلِ فَتَهَجَّدْ. Spend part of your night, make tahajjud. Stand up in the night. When you stand up in the night, what should you do? Nafilatan laka. Your standing up in the night will be nafila for you, O Muhammad. What does that mean? That's some addition to the foundation. The foundation is comes to salawat. And that's why if you go back to the verse before this verse, أقم الصلاة لدلوك الشمس إلى غسق الليل وقرآن الفجر إن قرآن الفجر كان مشهودا وَمِنَ اللَّيْلِ. See now. It says, أَقِمِ الصَّلَاةِ. Observe salah. This is faraid. Listen now. You get it. لِدُلُوكِ الشَّمْس. From the time when the sun goes away from its horizon. From Zawal al-Shams. Duluk al-Shams is Zawal al-Shams. It says, أَقِمِ الصَّلَاةِ. What salah is this? Salatul Zuhr and Asr. So once the sun goes away from its horizon, أَقِمِ الصَّلَاةِ. So you have two salats there. At Duluk Shams, at Zawal Shams. The first one is what? Salatul Zuhr. The second one is what?
Al-Asr.
So it says, Ila Gasakin Layl. When there is Gasakin Layl is another time that the sun moves away from where it was. That's the time of sunset. So you have Salatul Maghrib and Salatul Isha. So the ulama say this verse talks about the 5 salawat. Akim is salat ali duluki shams. Duluku shams is Zuhr and Asr, the time of Zuhr and Asr. Ila Gasakil Layl. Gasakil Layl is what? Maghrib and Isha. Wa Quran al Fajr. And your salah at the time of Fajr. That's the 5th salah. Inna Quran al Fajr kana mashhuda. What you read in salah at the time of Salat al Fajr is witnessed by the Malaika. Then it says, Wa min al layl. Is it tahajjud now? Is nafila. After this 5 salawat, wa min al-layl, and also from the deeper part of the night, fatahajjad bihi, stand up observing salah, nafilatan laka. You see, that will be an extra for you, an addition for you. So you know what does nafila mean now? Ma zada al-asr. Is it clear, Kwa? So nafila is what comes in addition to the basic rule. Likewise, Arabs call the grandchild a nafila. Zaid is nafila to Baba. Why is it nafila? It comes from the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam was asking Allah for a child. Go. And Allah gave him Ismail. And then he gave him Ishaq. He is the one asking, give me. So Allah gave him. When Allah referred to Yaqub in the Quran, he referred to Yaqub as Nafila. He wasn't asking for Yaqub. He asked for his son for himself. So Allah gave him Ismail and Ishaq. So Yaqub is Nafila. So Arabs have a way of referring to the grandchild as what? Nafila. So what comes after the Asl? Ma zada al-asli. النافلة ما كان زائدا على الأصل. So he says وَهَبْنَا لَهُ إِسْحَاقَ وَيَعْقُوبَ نَافِلَةً. We gave him Ishaq. وَيَعْقُوب. We gave him Yaqub too. We gave Ibrahim Yaqub. But as far as Ibrahim is concerned, Yaqub is what? Nafila. مَا كَانَ زَائِدًا عَلَى الْأَصْلِ. What comes in addition to the foundation? So linguistically, that is the meaning of. We can go on, there are a lot of issues under that. Nafila, linguistically. But in the Sharia, the ulama say it is ismun lima shuri'a ziyadatan ala al-fardi. Ismun lima shuri'a ziyadatan ala al-fardi. Nafila is the name that describes whatever is made, whatever is approved, whatever is legislated, ziyadatan alal fard, as an addition to something that is compulsory. So the addition to what is compulsory in the Sharia is called what?
Nafila.
So it means when the Prophet was commanded to observe the Qiyamul Layl as nafila, that is also ziyada al fard. It means in this case that the linguistic meaning of nafila and the Shari'i meaning of nafila are one and the same. The linguistic implication of the word nafila, which is makana zaidan al asli, and the technical meaning of the word nafila is mashuri aziyadatan al fardi. They are both one and the same. I hope that it is clear to us. The linguistic meaning of that word nafila and the technical meaning of the word nafila, they have come to be the same. Al Imam al Shawkani rahimahullah, Muhammad ibn Ali al Shawkani, the scholar from Yemen, rahimahullah, was a great scholar of tafsir. He was a great scholar of fiqh. He was a great scholar of hadith. Rahimahullah Shawkani. He has a book about that hadith. And these are some of the things that the early Muslims have spent their times for. We know the hadith of Wali. Man adadi waliya. That hadith is from the Arba'un of Al-Imam Nawawi. Ash-Shawkani has a sharh of that hadith in over 400 pages. I have a copy of it. He gave a sharh of that hadith in over 400 pages, old print. I don't know whether that's a new print now. My own print is old. Sharh Hadithi Wali. Old. I'm sure it's not less than 400. If it's not up to 500. Old print. You know what I mean by old print? Those small, tiny. Likewise, Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah gave the hadith of Jibreel. You remember the hadith of Jibreel? بينما نحن جلوس عند, the second hadith of An-Nawawi. Or third? Second. And the first hadith in Sahih Muslim, one of the Kitab al-Iman. Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah has a book, Kitab al-Iman, making a sharh of that hadith, over 400 pages too. One hadith, they are explaining. This one means this, it can go back to this, it can mean this. 400 pages, one hadith. What are we spending our own time for? May Allah protect us. Al-Imam al-Shawkani in Qatr al-Wali ala Hadith al-Wali, when he explained al-Nawafil, he says, وَالنَّوَافِلُ هِيَ مَا عَدَى الْفَرَائِضِ. So Nawafil is everything, something that is not faraid, ma adal faraid, things worship apart from faraid. Allati iftaradaha Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ala ibadihi. Those faraid that Allah made obligatory to his servants. The worship that is not faraid, that Allah made obligatory. But these nawafil min jami'i ajnasi ta'at. This is very important. Nawafil can come from Jami'u Ajnasi Abdur, from the various categories of worship. So Nawafil can come from Salat. Nawafil can come from Zakat. Nawafil can come from Siyam. Nawafil can come from Hajj. And so on and so forth. Jami'u Ajnasi Ibâdah, all forms of Ibâdah has Nawafil. And the nafila is ma kana za'idan ala al-fard or ala al-asl. Whatever comes after the fard is referred to as nafila. So he said, rahimahullah, min jami' ajnasi ta'at, min salatin, wa siyamin, wa hajjin, wa sadaqatin, wa azkar. Whether it has to do with salah, it has to do with fasting, or it has to do with hajj, it has to do with sadaqah, or it has to do with azkar. Some azkars are compulsory for us. like observing and reading Surah Al-Fatiha in Salah. Is zikr, but it's compulsory. It can even be rukun if the person is leading the Salah, observing Salah alone. If you are leading Salah or observing the Salah alone, it is compulsory for you, and it is from the aspects of the arkan of Salah for you to recite Surah Al-Fatiha if you are leading the people or praying alone. But if you are praying behind the Imam, the most correct view, and Allah knows best, is that it is compulsory. If you leave Surah Al-Fatiha behind, you are committing a sin while observing Salah. Because the Messenger said, alayhi salatu wasalam, La salata liman lam yaqra bi fatihatil kitab. The one who does not recite Fatihatul Kitab, wala salata lahu. He does not have salah. Al-Imam al-Shawkani continued. He says, وَكُلُّ مَا نَدَبَ اللَّهُ سُبْحَانَهُ وَتَعَالَى إِلَيْهِ وَرَغِبَ فِيهِ مِنْ غَيْرِ حَتْمٍ وَاخْتِرَاطٍ. He says, and every worship, نَدَبَ اللَّهُ إِلَيْهِ, that Allah encourages us to do. Allah encourages, He invites you, do this, do this, do this. It is from the aspects of nawaf. Likewise, those ones that He told us, if you do this, I will give you this. If you do this, I will give you this. If you do this, I will give you this. So nawafil are also known by that. For He will do all of this, min ghairi hatmin waqtirat. It is not persistently mentioned. Min ghairi hatmin. It's not to say it is compulsory waqtirat or made obligatory on us. So we understand that when the worship is not obligatory, we are just encouraged to do it. We are just invited to do it. We are promised good deeds when we do it. One of the ones that never stops amazing me, and I think all of us should be getting it every day. If we are told that if you come to this masjid every morning, this masjid in Alausa here, you will get $10,000 every morning. Just come collect $10,000 and go. Will we come? We will come, or we will not come. We will not come. You are living in Wali, you will come. The brother lives in Wali, he will come. He will come only once or twice. My heart said every day, $10,000. Abu Abdurrahman is just leaving the stone throw. Will you come? He said he shook his head because he has a nose mask. If he said yes, the nose mask will not allow me to hear him. So he shook the head. I will come. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, Rakat al-Fajri khairun min al-dunya wa ma fiha. The 2 units of prayer before Salatul Fajr is better than everything in this dunya itself and everything that it contains. How is it? 2 units for one day, not every day, oh no. One day. Well, usually I cite this hadith when I tell us that if we try and worship Allah well, that is enjoyment, is not a problem. Because I have 2 units of Rakat al-Fajr that I want to go and meet. It's better than the whole of this dunya and what it contains. So is that bad or good? You see now. And that is nafila. Ma kana zaidan alal asil. Ma kana zaidan alal fardi. How about the fard itself? If Rakat al-Fajr, which is nafila, is better than the entirety of this dunya and what it contains, how about Salatul Fajr? How about Zuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha, tomorrow Fajr again? So when we are encouraged to a good deed like this, that good deed is what? Nah. I hope that it is clear to us. But this encouragement is not saying that Rakat al-Fajr is compulsory. It's only saying it's nice to observe it. That's why Imam Shawkani said, Rahimahullah, min hatmin aw iftirat. It's not saying that it is compulsory, Neither is it said that it is obligatory. But you are encouraged. Nadaballahu ilayh. Allah invites you, come and observe Rakat al-Fajr. Khairun min ad-dunya wa ma fiha. It's better than the entirety of this dunya and what it contains. It's better than Banana Island. It's better than the whole Lekki. It's better than Maitama, Asokoro put together. It's better than Asoro. It's better than 10 Downing Street. It's better than Washington. Not them one by one. All of them, put them together. When I make 2 rakats of nafila, what Allah keeps for me is better than all these things. Should I miss it if I'm reasonable? May Allah protect us. So according to Imam Shawkani rahimahullah, he said, An-nawafilu min jami' ajnasi ta'at. The nawafil comes from all the forms of good deeds. From siyam, from zakah. So it means we have nafila to siyam. We have our nawafilu siyam. We have nawafilu hajj. We have nawafilu sawm, and so on. Siyam or sawm, that is nafila. We have hajj, that is nafila. We have umrah, that is nafila. We have salah, that is nafila. But what we are considering today, inshallah, are what? Those salawats that are what? Nawafil. I hope that it is clear, inshallah. So we know the meaning of nafila. But when we say nafila, it's not just salah alone. If you give somebody 1,000 naira sadaqah, and then someone asks, what did you do? You say, I just did one nafila. Will you understand that you gave sadaqah? Please, you should understand it now. Whatever you do that is not compulsory but that's encouraged and rewarding is what? Nafila. So it does not have to do with salah alone. So nafila is not just salah. It can be in zakah, it can be in siyam, it can be in hajj, in umrah. Somebody can go, oh, you came to hajj. Yes, I came to do nafila. You can't do nafila in Lagos. That's what the question they will ask. So the point here is nawafil, that word cuts across every group of good deeds, depending on the good deed that is mentioned. But today, we'll be talking about nawafil. And the time is very, very brief. So we are going to be very, very, a bit faster than we've ever been, inshallah. We have 7 points. Bismillah. 7 hadiths. 7 points. The virtues of nawafil. General virtues of nawafil. Because otherwise, when they start telling us about rawatib, each nafila has its own reward. But generally speaking, nawafil is what we want to consider. If you go to the Quran, when Allah told Maryam, Ya Maryam uqnuti li rabbiki wasjudi warkaiha. Ya Maryam uqnuti li rabbiki. O Maryam, uqnuti li rabbiki, be worshipful of your Lord. Wasjudi, go on in sujood, warkai marraki. Make ruku as those other people make ruku, or with those who make ruku. Warka'u marraki'in. We also find that in Al-Baqarah, when Allah commanded Bani Israel, from the commands he gave them after telling them, Uzkuru nimatallahi alayhi. Say warka'u marrakin, 2-3 verses afterwards. So it's generally encouraged. Allah encourages us to make nawafil. And the general verses. Here he also said, wasjud waqtarib. Make sujood, come close to Allah. When you make sujood, draw near Allah. So generally speaking, there are virtues of adhkar, and there are many of them in the Quran and Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. But let's be some more specifics about the virtues of nawafil. Tamim ibn Aus al-Dari, Abu Ruqayya radiyallahu anhu said that the Prophet said alayhi salatu wasalam, أول ما يحاسب به العبد يوم القيامة صلاة. أول ما يحاسب به العبد يوم القيامة صلاة. The first of what's the individual between the rights of the slave and Allah. From the rights of the slaves with Allah, the first of what the individuals will be asked about is salah. فَإِنْ كَانَتْ أَتَمَّهَا كُتِبَتْ لَهُ تَامَّةً. If his salah, his obligatory salah, أَتَمَّهَا, فَإِنْ كَانَتْ, if this salah were perfect, كُتِبَتْ لَهُ تَامَّةً. He gets the rewards written for him. His salah was perfect. In other riwayat of this hadith, it says, فَإِنْ صَلُحَتْ فَقَدْ أَفْلَحَ وَأَنْجَحَ. In saluhat, if his salah was sound, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ وَنَجَحَ. He has succeeded, he has achieved. If your salah is perfect. For us to know that nafila is ma kana zaidan ala al-asl. The nafila has not come in now. They are checking the obligatory ones first. And don't forget one of the qawaid we learned about ibadat. Al-aslu fil ibadat ma kanat wajiba. The basic rule about ibadat are those ones that are compulsory first. So awwalu ma yuhasabu bihi al-abdu yawm al-qiyamah salatuhu. Your salatul fajr, before rakat al-fajr, leave rakat al-fajr first. The fajr itself, then dhuhr, then your asr, then your maghrib. Ikhwa, I say this a lot. Perfect your salat. Perfect your salat. Your deen will be perfect. As you gradually perfect your salah, your deen. Not just about the prostrations and the gestures. Your khushu in salah. Your attention for salah. Your love for salah. Your hope for the rewards of salah. Perfect it. Your deen will gradually become perfect. So the messenger said, alayhi salatu wa salam, أول ما يحاسب به العبد يوم القيامة صلاته فإن كانت أتمها كتبت له تامة وإن لم يكن أتمها. But if that salah is faulty, today he came to Fajr late, he wanted to join the Imam in ruku. As he was going to ruku, the Imam stood up. Now in his judgment, he would say he met the 2 rakats, or perhaps he had missed the first rakat. Upon his judgment, he will make the taslim with the Imam. How many rakats of Fajr did he make? 1. That is naqs. Or his fasting. And so on. He has faults in these obligatory deeds. But regarding the salah, the Messenger said, alayhi salatu wassalam, إِن لَمْ يَكُنْ أَتَمَّهَا قَالَ اللَّهُ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ لِمَلَائِكَتِهِ. Allah says to his angels, Unzuru, look out, check out. هل يجدون لعبده من تطوع فتكملون بها فريضته. Will you find لعبدي من تطوع? Will you find any of some تطوع, nafila, any kind of a nafila? You find nafila for you. فَتُكَمِّلُونَ, so that you use it to complete his faulty obligatory deeds. Ikhwa, you know one point of benefit here. The nafila was originally nafila, but now it is coming to fill the gap of obligatory deeds, meaning that Allah upgrades your nafila in terms of its rewards. It is not actually from the foundation, but he raises it to become something by which the foundation can be repaired. That means in terms of the reward of your nafila, you are getting the reward of an obligatory deed. So is nawafil something that we should not care about? Something that we should say after all it is nafila. The first thing you get from your nafila is that your nawafil are mukammilat lima naqasa min wajibatika yawm al-qiyamah. They are mukammilat. they will help you to complete what is faulty from your compulsory deeds. If you ask, what will I gain if I make nafila? The answer is that from the things you will gain, if your obligatory deeds are faulty, Allah will complete and perfect them from your nawafil. What if the person says to me that, but I try to perfect my compulsory deeds, so I may not need the nawafil. I will answer that if it now happens that you need the nawafil, you will not be able to come back to this dunya. Why not take it and hold it along in case you need it? When we were younger than this, when we wrote JAM, not CBT or UMU, JAM, JAMB. That time JAM will specify HB pencil. Abi? Yes. It was HB. I wrote JAM 1992. Sorry, I'm a young boy. 92 over JAM. Some people may not be born though. 92. So JAM will specify, come with your HB pencil. How many HB pencils did we use to go to JAM exam hall with? 2. I took 5. 2, okay. If something happens to the 2, come. So our thinking then was that in case something goes wrong with it, you go on with this. You will hold razor blade and sharpener together. Because the razor blade may not work. You know the spirit of JAM at that time. I don't know now. You want to quickly sharpen it and the sharpener is not working. You can throw it away. You start using the razor blade. You learn it. I know Sabi do no day. You learn how to use razor. You see my hand, Abi? The thing will be sharp because it also has to be sharp. So that you fill in the box correctly. At those times, they were very strict about things like this. It's one thing to get the answer. It's one thing to fill your answer sheets correctly. We'll take 5 pencils. You can come back and write down. Do nawafil very well. You can't come back to this dunya to repair it. As you can write down again, you can't come back to this dunya again. You can't. So that's why you shouldn't take chances with it. The second major benefit about nawafil is that an-nawafilu turfa'u biha darajat. Nawafil, by them, Allah raises your status. By nawafil, Allah raises your status. Thawban Mawla Rasulillah sallallahu is usually popularly called Mawla Rasulillah. Thawban. But he was given to the Prophet by Salama radiyallahu anhu. Thawban. We say Thawban Mawla Rasulillah. He was actually given as a gift to the Prophet Muhammad. So wives can give their husbands. Thawban was given to the Prophet. So the Prophet gave a condition for his freedom. The day that he dies, you become free. When I die, you become free. That doesn't mean that I will leave this house necessarily. It's the one who reported this hadith. He said that the Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, alayka bi kasrati sujud. Take it upon yourself to make lots of sujud. فَإِنَّكَ لَا تَسْجُدُ لِلَّهِ سَجْدَةً إِلَّا رَفَعَكَ اللَّهُ بِهَا فَإِنَّكَ لَا تَسْجُدُ لِلَّهِ سَجْدَةً. Take to making a lot of sujud. No. فَإِنَّكَ لَا تَسْجُدُ لِلَّهِ سَجْدَةً. Because you would not make any kind of a sujud. You would not make anyone sujud. Lillah. Note this point. For Allah. If it is not for Allah, don't expect this reward. If you make sujood so that they can praise you, don't expect the reward. But if you make it Allah makes sujood for you, if it is for Allah, رَفَعَكَ اللَّهُ بِهَا. By that sujood, Allah will raise your status. The Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, فَإِنَّكَ لَا تَسْجُدُ لِلَّهِ سَجْدَةً إِلَّا رَفَعَكَ اللَّهُ بِهَا دَرَجَةً. Allah will raise you by one status. You don't know the status. One status. He didn't tell us the status. تَعْظِيمًا لِشَأْنِهَا. By way of making us understand, it's a big status. So he didn't tell us. But it is Allah promising. You know, some people, when the person promising you makes you keep your expectations. The person promising you makes you know where to place your expectations. If Dangote says, Abdur Rahman, don't worry, I will take care of you. You will not be expecting that he will give you 5,000 naira. Will you be expecting that? You won't. You won't. If the president of America says, don't worry, I'll take care of you, will you be expecting that he'll give you 5,000 naira? If Buhari says, our president says, I will take care of you, Abdur Rahman, will you be expecting 5,000 naira? Allah. How about when Allah says, I will give you something, I will raise your status? Should you be expecting any low status? So that's what Nawafil does for you. When you make sajda, Allah raises your status. The level of that status, He alone knows. And it is on the day that He wants to reward you that you will see it. You see how big it is. But it is bigger than anything that you can imagine. So why not trust the one promising and hope in that promise? So that it helps you to make many more nawafil. The Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, فَإِنَّكَ لَا تَسْجُدُ لِلَّهِ سَجْدَةً إِلَّا رَفَعَكَ اللَّهُ بِهَا دَرَجَةً. Point number one, your status will be raised. وَحَطَّ عَنْكَ بِهَا خَطِيئَةً. حَطَّ عَنْكَ. He will remove off you خَطِيئَةً. One major sin, one big sin. Allah will remove. Raise you up one way. Drop off you one sin. Maybe you have one iniquity you performed. All the time you remember Ibâdah song. When you make nawafil, it's a means to hope that Allah will forgive you that shortcomings. How many virtues have we mentioned? 3. The first one is that nawafil perfects the shortcomings in your obligatory. The second thing is that nawafil by it, Allah raises your sins. The third thing is that nawafil by them, Allah forgives you. Yes, there are a lot of ahadith under that, but because of time, we move to the next one. The ulama say, كثرة السجود من أعظم أسباب دخول الجنة. كثرة السجود, making lots of sujood. من أعظم أسباب دخول الجنة. It is from the biggest of the means of coming into Al-Jannah. What is that? Kathratu sujud. Making a lot of sujud. Thawban again. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. But let's go to the hadith of Rabi'a ibn Ka'b al-Aslam. Rabi'a ibn Ka'b al-Aslami radiyallahu anhu said, Kuntu abitu ma Rasulillah alayhi salatu wassalam. I used to sleep wherever the Prophet slept. Abitu ma. I used to sleep where he slept. That is the way to express it. Kuntu abitu ma Rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I used to sleep where he slept. Alayhi salatu wasalam. Fa'atihi biwadu'ihi wa hajatihi. So I will help him provide his wadu, what by which he makes wudu. His container for wudu, I will bring it. Wa hajatihi. Other needs, I run his errands. Radiyallahu anhu. Faqala li. So the Prophet said to him, Sal, come, ask me something. Scholars do that a lot. they find one diligent student, they say, you come. No, you use. Have you studied this so and so book? Say, come and teach you. I've seen this a lot. When ulama see you are diligent, you come. They want to give you something for that diligence. It's from the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad. So imagine the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam asks you, ask me something. If Dangote comes to you and says, ask me something, what will you ask? He give you rice, oil, granite oil, cement.
Stock.
Eh?
I'll ask for stock.
He said he will ask for stock. He's not the one in charge of that one. It will be hard for him to fulfill. You see, when you see rich people, they have problems. Their richness around them are controlled by people around them, not them. They have institutions that control what they do. You think that will take and spend $10,000 just like that? It will pass through procedures, tests, accountants, checks before it comes to you. Don't ask him for something like that. If you ask him for stock, where will he? You think stock is just he will write you letter? Even if you say give me cement, you know how difficult it will be for him. He will start thinking who to tell to give you the instruction. You give him problem. Don't ask me. So what should you ask? Don't ask. If you tell him, give me job, he does not know the free place in his institution. He does not know. He's not in charge of all these kinds of things. The man is looking for huge investments to put in refinery. You're asking him for your job. I did computer engineering. He doesn't know. Who's computer engineering? So if you meet the Prophet Muhammad and he asks his son, ask me for something. What will you ask Muhammad? Leave that with me. If you meet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Rasulullah, and say, son, ask. What will you ask? What will you ask? Now, Jannah. You'll ask for Jannah. Some women will ask that. My husband should not marry me. Wallah. Some people say, my job, may Allah make them promote me. Problem. He is asking for problem. Allah. This companion asked the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, is as'aluka more, not just Jannah, to be with you in Jannah. Anywhere you are should be there. Which is it just Jannah is asking? He says, as'aluka more fataka fil Jannah. I ask to be with you inside the Jannah. Wow. I ask to be with you inside the Jannah. He didn't even ask which job. May Allah make it easy for me to be making a wafi. May Allah make it easy for me to go to Hajj or Umrah. No. Jannah. The Prophet says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or you want to ask for another, say no. Radiallahu. Who was that? That request, that one, that. Just sign that one. So the Prophet said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, فَأَعِنِّي عَلَى نَفْسِكَ بِكَثْرَةِ السُّجُودِ فَأَعِنِّي عَلَى نَفْسِكَ بِكَثْرَةِ السُّجُودِ. Help me regarding yourself by making much of what? Sujud. Meaning that from the means of gaining Al-Jannah is what? May Allah make us from the people of Nawaf. Those are the qanitu. Inna al-Muslimina wal-Muslimat wal-Mu'minina wal-Mu'minat wal-Qanitina. from the aspects of vanity. At the end it says, أَعَدَّ اللَّهُ لَهُ مَغْفِرَةً وَأَجْرًا. So the fourth virtue of making a lot of nawafil is that Allah will make it easy for you to be from the people of Al-Jannah. The fifth thing we like to mention about nawafil is that an-nawafil fil buyut tajlibul barakah. An-nawafil fil buyut tajlibul barakah. When you make nawafil inside your house, you are inviting Allah's barakat into that house. When you make nawafil in the house, what are you doing? You are inviting Allah's blessings to your house. It means don't go and call people to come and read Yasin in your house. Don't go and call people to come and read Yasin in your house. No. When they ask you, why are you calling people? Say, I want barakah in my house. No. You make nawafil. Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari said that the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, إِذَا قَضَى أَحْدُكُمُ الصَّلَاةَ فِي مَسْجِدِهِ. When any of you ends his salah in the masjid, you go to the masjid, you observe salah. فَلْيَجْعَلْ لِبَيْتِهِ نَصِيبًا مِنْ صَلَاتِهِ. فَلْيَجْعَلْ لِبَيْتِهِ نَصِيبًا مِنْ صَلَاتِهِ. Let him make his home get a part of the salah that you observe. It says, فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ جَائِلٌ فِي بَيْتِهِ مِنْ صَلَاتِهِ خَيْرًا. فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ جَائِلٌ فِي بَيْتِهِ مِنْ صَلَاتِهِ خَيْرًا. Because Allah will bring khayr in your house as a result of your observing salah in your house. Khayr will come to your house. If one asks, my husband, how will we bring good in this house? Make nawafil. So women always ask, what are we doing at home? We're making nawafil. So the more nafila you make, the more khayr will come to that house. Take it as part of home chores. When you ask, Umu, every day in another, you answer the person, every day in a khayr. Umu, every day is nafila. What is the answer? Every day is khayr. The more nafila you make in your home, the more khayr you bring to your home. That hadith occurs in Sahih. There are other riwayat of that hadith that may benefit, but we can move on. From the virtues of nawafil is that when you make nawafil, Allah will love you. And you come close to Allah. The Prophet told us, alayhi salatu wasalam, أقرب ما يكون العبد لربه. The closest of when the servant becomes close to his Lord is when it's in sujood. You can just say, I want to quickly be close to Allah. I want to quickly beg something for Allah. Go and beg him in sujood. Make nawaf. Make wudu. And there is a sunnah of 2 rakats after wudu. Make wudu quickly. Make 2 rakats. When you are in sujood, you are very close to your Lord. So the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, so make a lot of dua in your sujood. Make a lot of dua in sujood. May Allah make us from the people of Nawafil. There are a few others that I like to stop here so that those of us who are homers can go and join Salat in Jummah. I like to stop here. When we return, we can take a few questions around what we have said. We have that to make us mention a few more things about the virtues of Nawafil. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. Inshallah, we now adjourn for Salat al-Jum'ah. So we'll come back 2:40 for the third and last lecture for today. Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Clear.